All right. What's up, everybody? My people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, or Staten Island, my homebro, Brooklyn. Back at another video. This is going to be part 4 to the Rise and Fall Mecca basketball series I'm doing. This is going to be on the Carmelo Anthony era in New York. Okay, now, we got to go back to Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni was hired to go over the Knicks coaching job in 08 and 09. They went 32-50. The next year, they went 29-53. Okay, and then that season, that off season, going into the next season, you hear noise about Melo wanting to go to New York, come play for the Knicks. Of course, Melo, as we all know, most people who are from New York know Melo was born and lived the first couple years of his life in Red Hook, over there in Brooklyn, Red Hook, Brooklyn. You know, they moved and he was raised the rest of his life in Baltimore, but he most part Red Hook, Brooklyn. So Melo's say he's a New York kid, if you want to. But honestly, we all know the reason when it comes to New York was to help his wife Lala and her acting career and shit like that. But you know, it is what it is. But anyway, Melo wanted to come to the Knicks. Okay, he wanted to trade, and he threatened the Knicks by saying he was going to sign with the Nets in the offseason. Everybody knew that was bluffing. Everybody knew he was bluffing. Okay, the Knicks, but unfortunately, the Knicks didn't know that shit, so they traded half the roster, half the guys he wanted to play with. They had to trade them to Denver just to get him. You know, but the trade happened. The Knicks, as it also happened, they ended up getting Mr. Chauncey Billups from. They got Chauncey Billups from Denver to go with Melo. You know, the Knicks finished that season 42-40, the 6th seed in the East, and faced off against the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen Celtics, and got swept in the first round. But you know, hey, we had Carmelo, we had good coach Mike D'Antoni, we had Mari Stoudemire, who we had signed that offseason, or season. Yeah, we had signed that offseason, and the pieces were in place for a run. Okay, Chauncey Billups ended up being traded to the Clippers, I believe, and then he retired. So I replaced him with young guys such as J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert, and then and this cat right here, Jeremy Lin. Okay, we all remember Lin's sanity. Hey, don't even get me started on that shit. I don't even want to go there. But yeah, Lin's sanity happened for 7 straight games, and then that kind of ended with LeBron D. Wade because they went so ham on Jeremy Lin. But anyway, that ended. Mike D'Antoni was fired in the middle of the season because he just couldn't with Melo anymore. They replaced him with Mike Woodson, who I thought was a very good coach. I think he should get another coaching job in the NBA. I don't think he deserved to get fired from the Knicks job, but we'll get to that in a minute. You see here, you see Sean, Raymond Felton, Melo. Well, JR just retarded Smith. The Knicks finished that season, that lockout season, 36-30. Tyson Chandler was the defensive player of the year. They finished 7th. Lower than they did the year before. It got blown out by the LeBron Heat in the first round in 5. You know, the team Melo should have signed with in the first place, but you know, there's another video for another day. That next season, 12-13, they signed veteran Jason Kidd from the Mavericks, who would help the Mavs win a championship in 2011, along with Tyson Chandler. And you know, the Knicks squad was loaded. The Knicks were loaded that year. They had Carmelo Anthony, who won the scoring title and stopped LeBron from being the first unanimous MVP. They had older Jason Kidd, they had Stoudemire, they had Tyson Chandler, they had JR, they had Shump. They had a great bench, great starting lineup. J.R. Smith was the 6th man of the year. The Knicks finished 54-28. They played the Celtics in the playoffs. The first round, beat them, and then played the Paul George-led Pacers. Okay, and unfortunately lost in 6. But, you know, everybody knows the Knicks should have won that series, but, you know, it's whatever. Okay, the next year in 13-14, everything fell apart. Jason Kidd retired. Want to go be the head coach for the Brooklyn Nets, the new Brooklyn Nets. And the Knicks finished 2013-14 season 37-45, and the aftermath of that, Mike Woodson was fired, and we all know he shouldn't have been fired. Okay, because that's a good enough record. I don't think he should have been fired because that's a great record, or a good record. It's obviously below 500. It was a good enough record. Okay, and this picture right here, and the high point of that season, that terrible season, was this right here: Melo scoring 62 points. Okay, a Knicks single-game franchise record, Melo's career high, and a record at the Garden. Okay, previously held by Kobe, who scored 61 on the Knicks in 09, and which I was at that game for, too. I remember watching that shit. You know, everybody in the Garden's rooting for Kobe because, you know, hey, we had shit to do that season. And then Bernard King, as we all know, scored 60 on Christmas in 84 against New Jersey. But, yeah, in the next season, in 2015-16, the Knicks finished 32-50. You know, Derek Fisher was the coach. Next year in 2015-16, Derek Fisher was fired, and they replaced him with Kurt Rambis, former Laker Kurt Rambis. 14-15 was the lowest point for the Knicks franchise. That was the first time in franchise history the Knicks had lost 60-plus games. They went 17-65 that season. The Lakers did as well. The only NBA franchise that's never lost 60 more games in a season, believe it or not, is the Utah Jazz. They're the only one. We see how they're doing right now with Mitchell. But yeah, the Knicks get Kristaps Porzingis. In the draft, they hire Jeff Hornacek, and they go 31-51. Okay, this is probably the second low point for the Knicks franchise. Okay, and after the 2016-17 season, they traded Carmelo Anthony to the Oklahoma City Thunder to form a quote-unquote big three with Paul George and Russell Westbrook. All right? So now it's Kristaps' team, and, halfway through that season, he said, I'm tired. So, we know he can never be an alpha on the team. Okay, we all know in Dallas, Luka's the alpha, but yeah, 17-18, 18-19, the Knicks finish out the decade, 29-53, 17-65. But, 18-19 draft, you get Kevin Knox. You hire David Fizdale, who I liked. He's okay. I respect him a little bit. The next season, he got fired midseason, of course, and they hired Mike Miller. Of course, that 2019-2020 season, they had R.J. Barrett. Okay, and that's going to be it for part 4. I'm going to get to the R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Julius Randle of it all on the next video, right? See y'all.